Hello, today I am going to talk about the differences between the Universal Columbia 1314 and the area-specific Graceys. Both curettes are periodontal instruments, and the Universal curette is a subgingival instrument and it is designed for light to moderate calculus removal. The Gracie is also a subgingival instrument and it is used to remove small fine calculus. Both instruments have a handle, a shank, and a working end. Let's compare these two instruments. The first thing to know is that the Universal Columbia 1314 is used in anterior and posterior teeth, whereas the Gracie is an area-specific instrument, meaning that is used in one specific area in the mouth. We have the Gracie 1-2, which is used for anterior teeth, canine to canine. We have the Gracie 11-12, which is used only for mesial tooth surfaces of posterior teeth. And we have the Gracie 1314, which is only used for distal surfaces of posterior teeth. In terms of the blade, the Universal curette has a rounded toe, two cutting edges per working end, and the face of the blade is at a 90-degree angle to the terminal shank. The Gracie also has a rounded toe, but only has one working cutting edge per working end, and the face of the blade is at a 70-degree angle to the terminal shank. The modified pen grasp method is used for both instruments. To identify the correct working end for the area we're working on with the Universal curette on posterior teeth, you place the blade into proximal, and if the terminal shank stands in line with the long axis of the tooth, we have the correct working end. If we place the other working end into proximal, we see that it's hugging the tooth, so this is incorrect. We can also confirm this by the V to the D method. For the anterior teeth, however, you would want to place your blade into proximal, and then you would use the Pac-Man method. So if I place my blade into proximal, I can see that the V is eating towards my torus surfaces. If I place the other side of my blade into proximal, I can see that it's eating towards away surfaces. So this will be my side will be for my away surfaces, and then this will be for my torus surfaces. For the Gracie, if we want to do for the posterior, we will do the same V to the D method. We place our blade into proximal, and then if we see that the V is pointing towards the D, then we have our correct working end. The same will be for the our distal instrument and for our mesial instrument. And then for the anterior teeth, our 1-2, you want to place your blade against the tooth, and if the blade is facing the tooth, then that will be your correct working end. So right now I see that my blade is facing the tooth, and so this will be for my torus surfaces, because if I change it and go like this for my away surfaces, the blade is facing me, so that will be incorrect. I will have to use the other side of my instrument, and now I see that the blade is facing the tooth, but it will be for away surfaces. So once you have identified your correct working end, for posterior teeth with the Universal, you will follow the same method as you would with the Gracie. You would find your correct working end, you will stabilize your fulcrum, and then you make sure that your blade is facing distally. When you start at the distal line angle, you close at a 0 to 40-degree angle, you insert, you open away from the tooth at a 60 to 80-degree, and then you activate, staying subgingival all the time. Once you're fully into proximal, you remove your instrument. Now you start at the distal line angle. Now your blade is pointing mesially. You close, you insert, you open away, and then you activate by overlapping strokes. You roll as you're going into proximal so you don't lacerate tissue. And then you will do the same for all your molars for all the sextants: sextant 1, sextant 3, sextant 4, and sextant 6. For the Gracie, however, you have your 1314, which is only used for distal surfaces. So you would only do your distal surfaces, and then you have your 1112, which is used for the mesial surfaces. The difference, however, is that with the universal curette, once you insert it, and you're going to open away about 60 to 80 degree away from the tooth before you activate. But with the Gracie, once you insert into the sulcus, the angle of the blade is open such that the terminal shank is parallel to the long axis of the tooth always, and then you activate. So that will be the difference, but it's the same process. You insert, you close, you insert, you open, and then you activate. Once you're fully into proximal, you go to the next tooth and then do the same. And then you will grab your 1112 Gracie, and then you would do your you start at the distal line angle, you close, you insert, you open, and then you activate. And that will be for all your mesial surfaces on all your sextants for posterior teeth. And then your 1, 2 will be for your anterior teeth. This is for my torus surfaces. The blade is facing the tooth, so you start at the middle of your tooth, the midline, and then you close, making sure your palm is up. You insert, you open, and then you activate. Once you are into proximal, then you go to the next tooth, you close, you insert, you open, and then you activate. And then if you want to do away surfaces, this is for my away surfaces, you close, you insert, you open, and then you activate. So as you can see, both instruments are to be used subgingival, but when each instrument is inserted in the sulcus, the angle at which the instrument is open is different. For the universal, you want to open your instrument away from the tooth such that the angle is 60 to 80 degrees before activation, whereas the Gracie, you want to make sure the angle of the blade is open such that the terminal shank is parallel to the long axis of the tooth before you activate.